Namaste everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to this video. Here I'm going to be talking about the energy that needs to be healed. It needs to be released from the person's DNA who is in the twin flame ascension journey. Twin flame ascension journey, star seed ascension journey and light worker ascension journey has same kind of stages, cycles and phases. And it can trigger from romantic heartbreaks. It can also trigger from familial, family related heartbreaks. So heartbreaks, darkness, feeling lonely, feeling lost, feeling betrayed, feeling like nobody supports you, and getting soul shocks from people you have loved. These are the reasons why a person enters into the ascension journey, where Mother Kundalini actually acts like the support system, and gradually a person realizes that they are on their own, and what they need to do is, instead of healing other people around them, their family members, their friends, their lovers, one lover, their partner, children, they need to heal themselves first. But there is a very stubborn feeling which is causing a lot of havoc in many people's lives, and this feeling doesn't go easily. It needs healing, it needs therapy, it needs inner work, or you individually work on your solar plexus continuously, and you will realize that the feeling of not being good enough or not being enough or not doing enough is actually a theme. It's in the background. It's like BGM, background music. It's always playing. And because of this, so many people are pleasing others even if they don't want to. So many people are in toxic relationships and toxic environments, not able to get out of it. So many people have these wounds. I have also shared an EFT session on this. Not being good enough. There's one session, if you want you can use that. That's a free therapy session. Otherwise you can also connect with me for one-on-one sessions, or you can get into readings, energy readings, where you have questions and we take help of tarot and we take help of intuitive reading. I have multiple spiritual modalities and tools that I use. This video also that I'm making, it's to actually help out people who are constantly in pressure because of this feeling. This is a feeling that causes depression, it causes anxiety, it causes fear, lots of fear, unnecessary stress, and it also puts people into jobs and businesses and lifestyles that they don't want to be in because they just want to fit in. Even fitting in is a part of trying to be good enough for other people. I do want to say this, guys, till the time we don't heal, actually, everything is very serious and everything is very difficult. But once we heal, because I have been in that place, I've been in a very miserable, very dark place, and once I started working on myself, this one point I have been giving to every single person who I meet. Whether you want to make prayers for other people, whether you want to help other people, whether you want to take care of other people, you're going through difficult situations, you're going through confusion, whatever it is, you have to first work on yourself, you have to first heal yourself, because you are the person who got hurt, you are the person who got rejected, or you got abused in childhood because some adults told you, teachers, parents, neighbors, society, relatives, this, that, somebody or more people, more than one. Actually, it is a very collective effort. It's a collective energy that is applied on a child to make the child feel or believe that whatever all of the adults around him or her are telling them to do is the absolute right thing. So if the child is an empath, if a child is gonna be a spiritual ascensioner, because see, if you're a twin flame, if you're a star seed light worker, you're gonna be like that since birth. You're gonna be different, you're gonna ask questions, you're gonna be a bit rebellious, or you're gonna be too quiet, you're gonna be somebody who they cannot understand that easily, they cannot handle. And anybody, any child that the adults who are very much used to, okay, child is gonna behave like this, child is gonna talk like this, child is going to walk like this, act like this, blah blah blah, we're going to put the child in school at this age, we're going to put the child in college at this age. They have very set like schedule for the child, for every single child. But out of all these children, there are some children who always stand out, because they are going to be different, they are going to be unique, and they are going to ask questions, or they are going to show behavior patterns that normally other children are not going to show. It's not to say that those children are inferior and these ones are superior. It's just what task they are here to do on earth and what is their karma. Because we are in the transitional time on planet earth, the ascending Dwapar Yuga, I'm not saying that Kali Yuga, when it ends, the darkness ends. That's not how we explain it. Darkness stays. But in the age of ascension, in the ascending times, things are a bit different than what they were in descending times. This is a time when women power becomes strong. Women becomes the leader basically everywhere, and men gladly give the leadership because they've seen in the past what has happened. In the past thousands years, what we saw on earth, wars, bloodshed. Now, not all men are like that. Not all men like these fights and wars and unnecessary flexing muscle and sleeping with every woman and taking it like a pride thing. Oh, I have slept with 100 women, 200 women, 50 women, blah blah blah. The world is changing, and the world is actually changing at a very fast pace, and that we can see just by my own example. I'll give my experience. I'll tell you, in 2020, I remember, if you would talk against celebrities, you talk against the false idols, it was a very big deal. Like, why would you say that? I think many people won't even resonate. Very few would resonate. And those who resonated, there was always a fear. Even on social media platform, you could just not share so many things. They would take it down immediately. But 4 years down the line, things have drastically changed. People have their own opinions. People are sharing their opinions. People are not scared to be themselves. There is obviously pros and cons of everything, but how I see it is that there are more and more people who are awakening. As more and more people are awakening, they are also trying to release all of these templates and loops. So sometimes there is a frustration, sometimes there is a lot of negativity. There are days that goes by where this persistent feeling stays of not being good enough. What more should we do? Whether it's a relationship, whether it's a professional situation, whether it's a family matter, the empath is just continuously doing so much. But what I want to say to you here is that you don't need to do so much. You're good enough. You're absolutely fine. There is nothing wrong with you. And there's actually not much you can do in any situation that you're in. Because if you surrender, and this is obviously for people who have surrendered, if you are surrendering or you have surrendered, then you know the best way to live is to not worry, is not to think too much, not to do too much. Just be in the state of inspired action, but be responsible. I mean, you know there is a balance that we all need to strike. As long as you are striking that balance, you're fine. But your mind is going to keep telling you, you're not doing enough. You have to do it. Because there's always an emergency that the mind tries to create. The mind is always putting people in survival mode. The mind is always telling people, if you're not going to do this, you're not going to make. You're not going to survive. Fake it till you make it. Do this, do that. I was watching this interview of a very famous celebrity here in India. I'm not going to take that person's name because I want to make a separate video about it. So I will share my opinions, the other opinions I have over there. But this celebrity was actually telling other people that if you want to be successful, then you must take a lot of stress. Then you should be anxious. You cannot be happy. You cannot eat food on time. You have to constantly work. You cannot take rest. You cannot relax. Now this is completely opposite of what your masters would tell you, of what spirituality is all about. Spirituality is saying stay relaxed, stay calm. You don't have to get so worked up for anything. You don't have to be anxious. Why would anyone want to be anxious and depressed? It is such a horrible place to be in. Why do you need social status? Why do you need other people's validations? Spirituality is going to tell you something completely opposite. But while that celebrity was communicating or talking to other people, there were probably hundreds of people. It was a huge gathering. Hundreds and hundreds of people, maybe thousands, were sitting over there. And they were all so enamored and impressed. by this person who was telling people that if you want to be successful, forget about being happy, forget about being healthy, forget about eating on time, sleeping on time, living your life. Just go for your goals. Just be crazy for your goals. What goals? This is exactly what parents do to children. They put these little babies, these innocent kids, into this hardcore, crazy competition. At such a young age, people, babies, kids, I will call them babies, at least till 7 they should be called babies. They are competing against each other. They are trying to secure positions in the classroom. Grade 1, grade 2, or number 1, number 2, first 3, top ranks. And this competition, then this poison of competition, of competitive, mean competitive streak, is then pushed further into the whole life. So I think in primary schools they should simply not have any examinations or tests or competitions or this or that. In my opinion, they should only make children do what children love and what they are good at. But for this type of discernment and this type of ability in finding out what the child is good at, the parents, the teachers all need to be into spiritual ascension. All of them need to be really in high vibrations. If they are themselves stuck in the survival mode, what are they going to pass on to the kids? The same thing, you are not good enough, you need to do more, you need to do more. Keep doing, keep working hard. Now when I say keep working hard, I'm not saying that we should all become lazy, we should procrastinate, we should just sit in one corner. No. We should think about where and what we are putting this hard work into. And I don't need to say this to a lot of you. You guys are wise enough. You know that when you love something, when you absolutely enjoy doing something and you don't have like a dagger on hanging on your head or a bell, someone ringing the bell, when you love something, when you feel responsible, you naturally give time to it. You naturally put your efforts into it. You naturally put your hard work into it. The hard work that comes to you via inspired action. And that doesn't mean you have to stay up all night, you have to compete with people, you have to promote yourself all the time, you have to get social validation, you have to prove a point, blah, blah, blah. No, you don't have to. You don't even have to earn excessive amounts of money. You have to buy like 6 fancy cars. I mean, I was watching somebody the other day on YouTube and this guy was teaching people that, look, I have 6 fancy cars and you should be like me, or you should get these type of cars and blah blah blah. And at the end of the day, he was still selling himself to people. He still wanted people to join him in some course, in seminar. That's not a problem. You want people to join your course or seminar, but for what? For the same things. And if somebody has 6 or 7 fancy cars, like if I literally have 7 fancy cars, I should not be bothered about making money, because I should be so comfortable, or I should just know the trick of making money, isn't it? Why after doing so much, so many materialistic things people get, still they are not satisfied, still they are unhappy, still they feel I need to get more? I mean, to go to office or to go to the market or get some stuff, you have 1 car in your house and maximum you need 2. Maybe you have more people, you need 2. I always promote bicycles to people. I always tell people you should have a bicycle, and I love my bike so much that I actually have it as a piece of furniture in my room. You don't believe me? I'll show it to you. In this room, as a part of my home decor, my room decor, that's my bike next to my guitar. It's quite visible. You can see the whiteboard and the paintings. I'm not against people buying cars. What I say to people is, buy what you need. Don't buy so many things that you don't even need, because if you're buying all these toys, you're actually just in the energy of I'm not good enough, I need to do more. You need a car, get 1 car, get a bike, get whatever, like those scooters if you need to go here and there nearby places. You can use local transportation. I mean, that's what a normal person should do. But I know so many of my relatives and I know so many people, They are not happy with one house, one car, one this, one that. They want more, 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 more. In the 3D world, it's okay to live like that because everybody is living like that. But once you ascend and you shift into 4D or 5D, this type of lifestyle is very difficult for you. You don't want to live that kind of life. And why do I say we should all work and we should be able to generate resources? Is because once you level up, you will always have a mission. And mission is the thing where you put in your hard-earned money, which is also pure money because you have not done anything stupid or wrong or wild to earn that money. But in the 3D world, people are willing to do just about anything to become rich. Be rich quick. Have you noticed that on internet also we have so many of the coaches who are actually teaching people to be rich and successful, to be wealthy and successful? But very few people are actually teaching how to heal from wounds, how to heal your inner child, how to be a happy person, how to be a content person, how to be someone who's peaceful, how to be someone who's relaxed, how to be someone who is walking on God's path. Not so many people. Even the religious or spiritual people are teaching most of the people how to be wealthy and how to be like materialistically sorted out. In my opinion, materialistic sorting out happens naturally because it's connected to your root chakra, it's connected to the bottom 3 chakras. Especially if your solar plexus is activated and it's working fine, you're not gonna die of starvation. You're not gonna be in the position where your needs are not taken care of. God is definitely going to take care of all your needs. If you continuously work on solar plexus, because solar plexus is the Manipur chakra, it is the chakra which helps people gain the true confidence in 3D world. But those who are on spiritual ascension, they are not working on just 3 chakras. They are actually ascending there in ascension, so they go even higher. They go even above it. The top 3 chakras are not connected with the body so much. The connection is then with the astral world, which is why you become a soul. Your super soul is awakened. In fact, your super soul is awakened, which is why you work on your lower 3 chakras, because you want to work with the higher chakras, but because there are so many wounds and fears and anxieties and stress and this and that which is stored in the lower 3 chakras, there is no other option but to first work over there. First you figure out how to be independent, you figure out how to be happy, you figure out how to be a giver. You've been a giver all throughout your life, but after the dark night phase, the long dark night phase, things change. A lot of people cannot work, a lot of people cannot manage their expenses, lots of things happen, and you know, if you've been in that place, you'll know that these things happen to you. Or some people have to struggle, like they're constantly confused, should I do this or should I not do it? Once you surrender, your confusion is gone, because you're no longer doing things on your own. You don't have doership. You have a job, but you don't have doership. You have a boss, but your super boss is God. So whatever money you make, whatever good life you live is because of the biggest boss. You're not worried about the government anymore. You're worried about the biggest government, the government that's run by source, and you working under that government. You have a government job, but it's under source. So you get the right package, the best package. My master says this, when you work with the government, you work with the highest government, you get the best package. You don't need to do so much. You don't need to constantly prove yourself. How you have to prove yourself all the time in the 3D world. It's never enough. They're never happy. Till your last breath also, you're going to be proving yourself if you're stuck in 3D. Why are we in the matrix? So that we can understand the matrix. And then, just like Neo, we can be out of matrix, or we can rule the matrix, or we don't get impacted by matrix at all. One very important aspect of this is that you can be yourself. Till the time you have the feeling that you're not good enough, you cannot be yourself. And this is the reason why we do inner work. This is the reason why we heal the inner child wounds. Why? Because we want the person to be who they are, without any fears, without any worries. I mean, of course, there are all the narcissistic people around you. There is this society, this flawed society. You have relatives. Like, if you live a very logical, pragmatic life, they're going to question you. Why are you doing this? Nobody is doing this. What is wrong with you? You're going to be all by yourself. Who's going to look after you when you get old? Who's going to take care of you? But if you logically ask them and if you give them rebuttals, they're going to be shell-shocked. Like, once a relative of mine was telling me that you must have biological children of your own, because when you grow old, those children are going to look after you. And her children were not looking after her. They hardly spoke to her. And it was not like a very, nice setup that way. And I asked her, just the way your children look after you, is that what you mean? And she got a bit offended. At first she got a bit offended. She said, why are you making a personal remark? I said, well, I am not making a personal remark. This is happening in maximum households. How many people are actually literally properly being taken care of by their children? Maybe 50% of the total population. What about the rest 50%? Of course, the kids are not taking care of them. And there's no guarantee what type of child you'll have, what type of offspring you'll have. Nobody knows these things because it's also because of karma. Children who are in the spiritual reality, the good thing about them is that even if they have narcissistic parents or they have difficult parents or they have some situation going on, some kind of toxicity, they still take care of their parents or their responsibilities or their children or their wives. But if you are in the karmic setup, they are not going to do that. They are not going to take so much. They are not going to accept their parents the way they are. They are not going to say, oh yeah, I want to take care of my parents. They'll say, no, I have to manage my own house. I have to be with my wife, or I have to be with my husband, or I have to do this, or I have to do that. And then you have all of these gender-based biases also, that men cannot do this, women cannot do this. Now with education, now as women power is increasing, a lot of people are also saying to me, and I've seen it myself in my surroundings and my reality, that more than the sons, actually it's the daughters who are taking care of their parents and family members. Not saying that all sons are like that, but if you look at maximum cases, daughters are taking care of their parents now, because they are also earning and they are educated, so they are also acting like how a son would act or a boy would act. But if you look at the Shastra, if you look at what the Vedas say, then it's always the boy who should look after the parents. This is what is written over there. I'm not making this up. So we definitely live in a society which needs a lot of healing, because people are just reproducing children, or people are just getting married not because of love but because of fear. Because if you really have love, if love increases in this planet, then the first thing that human beings are going to do is take care of the destitute children, take care of the abandoned kids, take care of the orphan children, because these children, they are going to be the future of this planet. But how many people think logically? This is the real logic, because nobody is going to live here forever. Nobody is going to be here till eternity unless you have divine gifts and powers and something happens, like that would also be an exceptional case, right? It's not going to happen to everyone. We are not going to be immortals like that. And even if one person is immortal, that doesn't guarantee that all the people around this one person are going to be immortals too. One by one, everybody is going to go. So why are people doing so much? Are they doing so much because of joy? Maximum people are doing a lot of things because of fear, because of survival. They are scared and they want to be taken care of, but they don't want to be taken care of by source. And yes, people go to temples, people talk to God, people go to Gurdwara, church and mosques everywhere, but nobody actually truly surrenders to source. Very few people do that, and that happens with the people who are on spiritual ascension. The genuine ones, of course. And the more you surrender to source, the more this idea of not being good enough, not being there yet, it kind of goes away. With time, it starts diminishing away. And you can actually see those memories, those negative memories, where you were put in those places where it actually started happening for the first time, where you were put in a spotlight, under a spotlight, and you were made to do things that you didn't want to do, but you were doing it because you were so pressurized. You were literally groomed to be that person that you don't want to be. And they would tell you to pick up things like, pick up this because this is going to give you a viable offer in future, 14 years down the line, 16 years down the line. Or my father wanted to be an engineer, so he could not be an engineer, so I became an engineer. My dad wanted to be a doctor, or my mom wanted to be this or that. They could not do it, so I did it. And lots of efforts people are putting into raising children to fit into the 3D model of being successful. But inside, most people are unhappy, because this feeling is a very low vibrational feeling. You see, not being good enough creates the feeling of guilt. It also creates the feeling of shame. It creates the feeling of apathy. It creates the feeling of fear. So these 4 feelings are all literally lowest on the chart. Worst feelings to have. And then there is also feeling of desire, because of course when you want to be good enough, you'll have lots of desires and you would want to achieve this and achieve that. Constantly people are trapped in desires. I mean, they read the success stories or they see the success stories of some people. Out of millions, there's probably 5 successful people who have done like some big achievements. What about all the rest who are struggling and suffering? They're not able to reach to that point of achieving all their desires. In Sanatan also they say, all the teachings of Sanatan, the ascension based teaching, they say that you should not have desires, because desires make you miserable and it makes you suffer. But if you look at the 3D model of being successful, they will tell you, have desires, have goals, have vision boards, have this, have that. Keep on affirming every day, I have this much money, I have this much money, I have this much money. What are you going to do with the money? The point is that when you have money, you should be happy with whatever money comes to you, and all of that money should go into a good cause, in helping someone else. And charity also begins at home. But if that money is massaging people's egos, then it is not good money. And that money makes people do lots and lots of bad things, and it's not money, it's blood money. Or, as I can see, if people are not doing very bad things and they are constantly in the offices, they are ass licking their bosses, they are boot licking their bosses constantly. In Hindi, we have a beautiful, cute word called chatukarita. So they are constantly doing chatukarita, because they have to sustain, they have to live, they have to survive, they have to make everyone happy. I mean, people can go to work without pleasing anyone also, right? But then that would not be normal. I remember once, I'm also like you all, I don't have great interpersonal skills with 3D people. I didn't have it back then. Now, of course, we get trained and we can do small talk and hi, hello and fine, all right, great. But at that point in time when I used to go to work, I did not talk to people at office. I would just go to work, do my work, just go to work, do my work and leave. So one of my senior bosses, he once took me into a room, into a cabin, and he started giving me all the lecture, and he started saying that, well, I have a complaint from people about you. And it's a serious complaint. I said, what is the serious complaint? He said, well, people are saying that you don't talk to anyone, you come to office, you sit in your desk, you do the work and you leave. You don't go out to hang out with them as such, or you don't even do little bit of like hi, hello, small talk, or you don't take tea breaks with them, you don't take lunch breaks with them. And I kept listening to him, and after he was done, I asked him this question, so do I get salary for working here for this job, or do I get salary for making interpersonal relationships? Because if I need to talk to my client, I can do that. If I need to get my work done and I need to talk to people who are doing work with me, I can do that. I can send the emails, I can make the phone calls, and I can go in meetings, because we used to have lots of meetings too. But in the meetings, I'm only discussing work. Now, are you paying me to talk about work to complete my KRA or all the other things? Because if you are, then it's something that I would like to get paid extra for. or you can just simply fire me if that's what you want to do. And he was like totally shocked, and he was actually thinking about it. He was like, well, you do have a point, and I'm just giving this feedback. Like when he started, he was really barging at me. He was making it sound like a very big deal, but when I gave him that answer, that rebuttal, he was really out of words. So many times I've noticed in corporate world, I've noticed this everywhere else also, in businesses also, there is an unnecessary act that people put up, unnecessary act of being friendly and cute, even if they don't want to be. Like I'm very friendly with the guy from whom I buy food for my dogs, and we have 200 dogs, so you can imagine we are constantly buying stuff from him, and I'm friendly to him. But I'm also friendly to him because he's a very God loving person. He's a vegetarian, he's a nice person, he's also kind of helpful, he understands, certain things which normally another shop owner will not understand. And I've been maintaining this relationship of just being a buyer and he's a seller for many years now. But there it is natural. Naturally you are nice to a person. Naturally you feel like saying, hi, what's up? So how's it going? Is everything good? How's your day? Oh yeah, day is fine. What about you? Day is good too. Yeah, okay. But when you have to put a mask on, when you have to fake it unnecessarily, just because you have to fit in, it also comes from that part of you which is constantly feeling you're not good enough and you need to make it all right and make it nice with everybody around. It's interesting because when my boss, one of my senior boss actually asked me this question, I myself was on a senior position in office. So they were really expecting me to do what? Party with all the office people every day, because people used to do that. People used to go to a bar or something after work, and I would only go to a party when it was an office official party, otherwise I will not go. So they were not happy with it, but after that meeting, after that day, they never asked me that question again. And there were so many other things that happened when I was working in the corporate world, and there came a point where I was actually questioning, why am I doing this? And I know you all go through this, you all must be going through this. You actually feel happy when you are being responsible. I mean, as long as I was able to take care of my own people, be a good provider, I was very happy. All people in Twin Flame Ascension journey, be it men or women, we have both yin and yang energy. We have both masculine and feminine energy. We can be a good nurturer and we can be a good provider. And this applies to men also. A man can be a good provider and at the same time he can be a very good nurturer. And I've seen this all throughout my career and my journey, and in all the things that I do as well, and the people I connect with, the people who work with me, people who come for readings. There are so many men who take these readings and so many men who connect with me, and they have this beautiful nurturing element in them. But I'm sure at one point in time they had to really fight for it. They had to really prove to people that this is normal and let them be. So if you are watching this video and you've watched till this point, then I must tell you that be yourself, live your life. You don't need to please people, and you don't even have to be mean to people. You can just be yourself and you can just be content and happy, and you can be happy in whatever God has given you. Whatever God is giving you is good enough for you. It's fine for you. You don't need to achieve anything extra, additional, just because somebody has to say, oh wow, look at this person. And about love, of course, how can I end this session without talking about love? In love also, you don't have to please your partner unnecessarily. You don't have to be like your partner. I know some of my friends who are in mission, they have partners who have got nothing to do with the mission. They have no idea about the mission work. And they are okay with it. They have a great relationship with their partner. They go home, they talk about all the 3D things or whatever things they have in common with, if not 3D also. Because sometimes you can be spiritual, but you might have different missions. Like I have friends who are doing something else. It's a mission, it's a good mission, they're helping someone, but it's not the same as my mission. That doesn't change anything as long as they're doing something good in life, as long as they're doing inner work. I have friends who are from different religion also, from different countries. Even those countries probably don't have very friendly relationships with each other, but the people are very nice. So why are we all friends? Because these boundaries, these borders, these divisions, these separations, they don't apply to human beings. They apply to programmed individuals. Love is the only medicine that can heal all the sickness of this planet. As long as we practice love, unconditional love, it also means that you can be yourself. Now, practicing unconditional love doesn't mean you have to constantly be happy. I mean, spirituality is not about be constantly happy. Spirituality is about be real, be yourself. If needed, speak the truth. If needed, you can be quiet. You don't have to speak at all in certain situations. So, yes, you are good enough, you are amazing, you are awesome, and life is good, life is beautiful. For personal sessions and therapies, you can check out the description box. You can get my book, In the Name of Love, A Journey of Finding Your Ultimate Soulmate. The description box has all of the links and all of the details that you might need in case you're looking for it. So I will see you in the next video. One love, peace out, and victory to Ram.